We do know that Josh McDaniels had dinner with the parties out in LA, LA, Las Vegas. And last night, and then he's having more interviews and more meet and greets and Mark Davis and whatnot today. If anybody blows this, it's going to be Mark Davis. He's going to meet that goofy dude and be like, nope.
Yeah.
But anything short of that, and I honestly believe that, I'm not just joking. I believe that that's the one thing that could sour this. Like, I'm not playing with, I can't do that, with this guy. But it feels like this is done. And it's McDaniels and it's Ziegler, and then possibly even poaching more people from New England, who knows what. And it's going to leave a big hole here. And you and I talked about this earlier in the week, which one would be the bigger one. And I honestly do believe, and I think we agree, the Ziegler thing is going to be a problem because of how Bill was drafting and how they've been drafting since maybe he started to take a little bit more input from his
Yeah.
team. And I don't know how this would be. This feels like it would be an all Bill draft this year, and they can't have that. I
So
mean, I
I
don't know, but I'd be concerned.
Yeah. So to start on the Josh McDaniels thing first, I have basically been told by people in the organization that the Patriots are planning on Josh McDaniels leaving for the
Right.
Raiders job at this point. I'm not saying that it's done. I'm not saying that it's a but it's essentially a foregone conclusion at this point that as long as barring some last minute change of heart on the Raiders side of things, the Raiders want Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is comfortable with taking the Raiders job, especially if they take his buddy Dave Ziegler with him. And that is the GM coach duo that goes to Vegas. And Mark Davis, as much as he's unpredictable and as much as he's somebody that is hard to read at times, he is also somebody that likes to splash, right? He doesn't want, from what I understand, to hire like Chicago just did. And it's no offense to Matt Eberflus, who I think is a good coach, but the Vegas Raiders do not want a Matt Eberflus, right? They don't want a Nathaniel Hackett.
No,
They want to
they
make
want a
Edwards
splash. They want
with
a
their
big guy.
hire.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think that Mark Davis looked at the situation, and his first choice from everything that I've been able to put together was still Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, but I don't think Harbaugh is quite yet prepared to leave Michigan and is going to stay put for now. So he wanted to make, just like he made a splash when he moved the team from Oakland to Las Vegas, he wants fireworks in Vegas. He wants to make a big coaching hire to have something to announce that is on a big epic level in terms of the NFL news cycle. Josh McDaniels, for all of his warts, for all of his concerns that Patriots fans have with him, he is somebody that will 110% grab headlines, right? That the Patriots offensive coordinator for the last decade finally left New England after leaving the Colts at the altar, after staying in New England through that entire thing. The Raiders were the team that finally pulled Josh McDaniels out of New England for a second time. That is a big NFL story. And I think Mark Davis wants to be a part of that. As far as the Patriots go, I've gone back and forth on this because Ziegler, I think, is an important person in the last couple of drafts. I do think the drafting has certainly been better. Obviously, this last class headed out of the park. Mac Jones,
Right.
Christian Barmore, Ramondre Stevenson, a home run, no doubt about it. I do think that they have better contingency plans, though, for Ziegler's departure than McDaniels' departure in-house. Because I think guys like Elliot Wolf, for example, who's been an assistant general manager, who's been a director of player personnel, was also heavily involved in the drafting process and the scouting process last offseason, could probably do Dave Ziegler's job and do it pretty well. So I feel like they have a contingency plan in-house that better suits that role for Ziegler. The problem that I have with Josh McDaniels leaving is that it's a very much an unknown of who is going to replace him as the offensive coordinator. And you have a second-year quarterback in Mac Jones, and you don't want to mess with his development. And in-house candidates like Nick Caley, Troy Brown, potentially Mick Lombardi, not ready in my estimation.
I agree. What I will say, and it's maybe not a great time to start bumping things that Adam Schefter reported, but soon after the word of the interview
Yeah.
broke, that was happening, and just the word of the interview did signal some sort of, it was the very fact that he took it really signified to a lot of people that he's not just taking this interview, he's going there to be hired. And
Yes.
so soon after that was out there, Schefter did tweet out someone they could consider is Bill OBrien. Now,
It's easy to connect those dots.
but you and I, like I'm saying, a lot of people can speculate. He typically doesn't do that. He doesn't just throw it out there unless it's a whisper somewhere. And so, as you say, the belief that the Patriots have believed for a little bit that this was happening, I also believe that the Patriots might have an idea that someone like OBrien would be amenable to taking the job. And my guess, someone with OBrien's pedigree and the fact that he's been here before would get something along the lines of assistant head coach / offensive coordinator sort of position, much like McDaniels, who was considered more than the OC. When McDaniels almost left that first time for Indianapolis, he came back with the idea that you're more than just an offensive coordinator.
Right.
You're kind of a you're assistant to the manager sort of guy.
Sure.
And so I think OBrien might have something like that going on. And you certainly think at this point, he's not leaving a head coaching gig. He's a coordinator in college. So you would think that this would be a kind of an avenue back for him.
It's certainly a step up to be a
step up
coordinator to an NFL coordinator, especially if you want to be in the pro game. Ideally, it's definitely a step up for Bill OBrien, and I definitely think that that's on the table and will be their first call if Josh McDaniels does officially leave for the Las Vegas Raiders here, which I would say at this point is my expectation that Josh McDaniels is going to be the Raiders head coach, and I do think he's going to take Ziegler with him. Now, going back to OBrien, I started watching some Alabama tape from this past season yesterday. Got a bunch of draft prospects the Patriots might be interested in, and they might have the offensive coordinator here next year. It took me 3 plays into the Alabama offense, John, to find Haas Wajir. 3 plays until he ran Haas. It's the same offense. It really is. It's spread. It's got some RPO elements to it. It's got some motion elements to it, but the foundation of it is the same thing that Bill OBrien ran here in 2010 to 2012 and that generation for the Patriots. And it would be a very seamless transition from Mac Jones to the rest of the coaching staff to everybody.
And to John Mechie, who's definitely going to be drafted here. And I did see you doing a little bit of a breakdown on Twitter from Mac to Mechie throws. And I think you got a little... You got a little hot, looking at some of that film.
He's fantastic. And I'm way higher on him than a lot of people are, I would say. And all I got to say about that guy is he gets open in every possible way of the word open, right? He can get open on a 3-yard slant just as easily as he can get open on a 60-yard bomb. He can run across the field on a horizontal, across or over route, horizontally stretch the defense. You can throw him the ball in the backfield behind the line of scrimmage, screens, end arounds, jet sweeps. He can get open in the slot. He is everything that Patriots fans want. John Mechie is in a one package. Yeah, he's got the knee issue, but the familiarity with Mac Jones, I think, is a big part of it too. And if the Patriots have Bill OBrien as their offensive coordinator, I mean, the dots are just all over the place for this to just work out. And when you look at their past failures at that position, Mechie is the total opposite of N'Keal Harry, right? He's 6
which is exactly what you should look for in a receiver.
Right. He's 6 feet tall.
The opposite of N'Keal Harry.
4.35, 4.4, somewhere in that range. He's quick. He's shifty. He's fast. He's good with the ball in his hands. He's everything that N'Keal Harry isn't as a wide receiver. So in so many ways, that one just makes so much sense. But back to the OC candidates here for a second. Assuming that Bill OBrien, for some reason, doesn't take the OC job with the Patriots. I don't know why he wouldn't, but let's just say that he doesn't. A few other candidate names that I would look at to potentially step in. I do think this one's not getting talked about a whole lot by a lot of people, and I think it should be, is Tim Kelly, who was Bill O'Brien's offensive coordinator in Houston. So if you can't get Bill O'Brien, then why not get the guy that was calling the plays and running the offense in Houston? Basically, he's got all the familiarity and all the roots in the system that Bill O'Brien has as well. So Tim Kelly and Houston, the past Houston offensive coordinator, actually survived Bill O'Brien's firing initially, but now that Deshaun Watson is probably not going to be a Texan ever again, they have fired him and he is now a free agent essentially on the coaching market. I wouldn't rule out conversations with guys like a Chad O'Shea, like a Joe Judge,
Yep.
past Patriots coaches. I think those guys are interesting. I hate the name. I don't want it to happen, but Adam Gase is obviously a Bill Belichick.
Oh, Evan, no.
I'm just putting out names. That
name creeped up last year and it
Yeah.
caused a panic. So don't do that again.
Okay, so the one guy that I would really, really like to see them discuss the job opening with is Joe Brady, who was fired by the Carolina Panthers for philosophical differences. But if you want to update the offense, Joe Brady was the passing game coordinator in 2019 for LSU with Joe Burrow, right? That offense that broke all sorts of records. A lot of the credit went to Joe Brady in terms of designing and calling that offense. So you want a new age offense. You want a guy that's going to bring in some spread elements and some elements from the college game that Mac Jones is comfortable with. Somebody like Joe Brady is an interesting name as well, who's also a coaching free agent. But O'Brien and Tim Kelly, I think, are two names that make a whole lot of sense, seeing that they have basically been running the Patriots system in their past couple of stops.
Okay, those are fair names. We will have more. And look, we're snowed in. If we have power and McDaniels goes, we'll hop on and we'll talk with you guys about it again.
I thought we were going to be breaking in news about Josh McDaniels today.
Yes.
I had not thought about Tom Brady or this being on the radar. I fully expected us to be going live today because Josh McDaniels was announced as the Raiders head coach, and I still think we might get there today.
Yes.
If not today, then probably Monday. Or the Raiders with Mark Davis, knowing him, he might break into it right in championship weekend just to try to steal the show. So this is going to happen, I think, and it probably should happen in the next couple of days.